you know, me and the wife are in the middle of looking for a new house. We're going to sell the apartment and move out. And when I do, a man cave will mean one thing. I can position the computer so the lighting is coming from in front of me and not behind me. Such dark screens. Don't worry, I've got my coffee. Oh, a frothy coffee. A frothy coffee. Did you know, after the last episode when we won the UEFA Champions League, we then got to play in the Super Cup? This is just an intro, you better believe it. Jesus, that was bad. Yep, welcome to the series. And I don't want to start bragging and say that we are the greatest team in the history of football, but Egerton 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, with Prince Answer and Maui on the score sheet. Now, Domicio Maui, you might be like, I recognise him, but I can't picture him. Remember, he's the young kid we've had since 2042. Picked him up age 16 from Vitesse for 1.7 million. And he is developing. He's only 18 at the minute. And oh my days, he looks quality. So yeah, we've won the Champions League and the Super Cup in the year 2044. Wouldn't have thought that was going to happen. Also, the fact that Kyle, former Egerton, and Fionn Boyle, former Egerton, in their squad had to watch us lift. Oh, and Luis Diaz, he's former Egerton. Oh my God, they had 3 former Egerton players and we still brushed them to one side. So I'm going to start, well, I'm not starting because we just won the Super Cup. I'm going to follow on with some disappointment before we go anywhere further. So, yeah, and I actually had a meeting with some of the players who were very disappointed that we didn't win the Cup. Now, I guess the only thing I would say to that is maybe next time you should play better football and we might win the Cup. Don't come shouting at me when it's you that messed up. So we won 5-0 in the first leg, in the first round against Vestnes Varfield. Then we played Follow and won 10-0, one of our biggest victories ever. Then we played Molde 2-1, Orsane 5-1, Frigg 5-0. Before an extra time against Odds, we lost 2-1. Now I did heavily rotate with Ridger and Allison, one of our youngsters in central defence. Mala came to left back. Niemeyer, our academy player, only 16. Anderson, only 16. Sauer, our backup striker. So we did heavily rotate, but going out to one of the battling sides in this league in Odds, yeah, it was a bit upsetting. Who actually won? The Bird of Glimt won. Okay, so Bird of Glimt won the cup this year. Disappointing we didn't continue our impressive run of form, winning a few years in a row, but it's the way it goes sometimes. Okay, we're going to look at our league form to here, then we'll look at the transfers from the summer, and then look at the rest of the league form. We did play really, really well in the league. You can see here, no defeats at all, complete domination for the first couple of months, drop points against Molde, but then beating Rosenborg. Complete domination apart from a draw against Starbeck. That was a bit disappointing considering we were 3-0 up in that game. But we were really, really solid. And it was another season of complete dominance in the league at least. We are by far the best team in the league now. Now, one thing that I'm considering. So we're playing in the Club World Cup coming up, which I obviously want to take part in next year. Should we move on from Egerton to another club in Norway to help build the nation? Would it help if we leave an Egerton as one of the powerhouses in Europe? Would it then help if we then move to other clubs in Norway and develop them? Like if we take charge of a fallen giant. There is one I've got my eye on as a consideration you'll see at the end of the video. So moving on to our transfers. We only picked up a couple and a couple of people went out. Not too many, to be honest with you. We did have a bit of an issue with left backs leaving us. So first off, Eirik Husby came in. He is from Viking. We paid 10 million for him. Massively overpaid again. But again, that's 35 million I've pumped into Viking over the last 2 years. Really trying to create a second powerhouse in the league. He's not bad. He's only 17. I think he could develop. And I picked up Petter Gross. Now I'm going to send him out on loan next season within the league. we paid 60k for him. And my thinking is, if we can end up keeping him in the league, maybe a bird of Glimt, Mulder pick him up. He's a very good goalkeeper and better than I think they could sign themselves. So I think that was a good bit of business. Now, in terms of the outs, first off, Maid's left us. After 8 seasons, 200 league appearances, he's gone to Al Hilal on 350 grand a week. I mean, fair play to him. 26 years old. His contract was running out. He only had 6 months left and he wasn't a first choice player anymore. So I think sending him off and just letting him go to Al Hilal was the right bit of business there. Fossum also has gone to Al Veda for 5 million. Another player who I really didn't want to actually let go, but he started complaining that bids were coming in and I was rejecting them. He wanted a new challenge. So he ended up leaving us. Lopez went for 2 million to Napoli plus 50% next sale. I don't think he was ever going to proper push into the first team, especially with the academy players we got through this year. Anthony has gone for 15 million to Inter. 27 years old now. We paid 1.5 million for him and we ended up getting 15 million plus 50% of next sale on him. Vormin has gone to Tottenham for 7.5 million plus 50% next sale. I actually wanted to start integrating him into the first team, but my God, did he start complaining. Steinskog has gone to Barcelona for 7 million plus 50% next sale. Another player who I really didn't want to let go, but when Barcelona came in, he started complaining. And then also going out on loan is one of our young goalkeepers. Now, we've won the Champions League. We've won the Super Cup. So my thinking here is we are in a perfect time to rebuild. So losing the likes of Maida, Fossum, Anthony, Steinskog, we are in a place now to start rebuilding this club. Now I will quickly show you there. You can see we've arranged £79 million worth of transfers already. So we are in the process of rebuilding. A £1 million central defender from Man City is an absolute gem. 62 million on a 19-year-old from Arsenal. I'm excited to show you who we've signed. I'm excited for the next episode because I do think I'm going to add maybe another 2 or 3. As this is now, okay, we won the Champions League with that squad. That squad's kind of separated a bit. And we're now adding a few more. And we've got them academy players who came through. I mean, we have to look at him again. Christian Niemeyer, the Norwegian German. He's 16 years old now. He's already played 13 games for the club. Came through the academy and he looks insane. So I am really excited to see how we can continue to develop. So in terms of the remainder of the season in the league, you can see we were very, very successful. So we did lose to Lillestrøm, which was a bit disappointing because they just... I can't explain it. I do think we are weak at the minute. We are looking... Them signings are going to be a big help. But you can see we did end up going on a massively long winning run. Dropping points to Viking, but apart from that, we were very, very solid. If we go to the league table there, you can see we end up only losing 1 game, drawing 3, picking up 81 points and dominating the league. What I would say is our squad was weak in the second half of the season. Losing a few players, both left backs. Anthony from the attacking midfield strata as well was a fantastic player. Maida as a backup option as well in them last couple of seasons. We were weak and we still only lost 1 game. And that was our 10th title as well, by the way. So we have moved up in a clear second in terms of most titles. Behind Rosenborg. Can you see Rosenborg on the list? They went down. Former giant with 27 top flight titles, 12 cups. They are now relegated to the second tier of Norwegian football. And this was what I was thinking. What more can we achieve with Egerson? Yes, we can maybe win another Champions League, another 2, another 3. In a builder nation, would it not make sense that if I took, for example, after the Club World Cup next year, if the Molde job became available, take something like that? Starbeck, something like that, Valerenga, Rosenborg, if they're not back up, take them back into the top flight, and do you know what I mean? And just almost to keep it fresh for the remainder of the FM cycle. Try to make another team be a powerhouse, because, for example, odds are just not doing in the Champions League. But what if we were the second team? So Egerson are there, and us as the managers pushing another team up. Maybe that would help the points. Maybe Egerson would fall off and it would backfire. I don't know. But it is something I'm considering. I'm loving managing Egerson. I'm loving this new rebuild point we are in. But at the same time, maybe, because it's a building nation, I feel like we might have to focus on them other clubs a bit because they're not doing it themselves. So in terms of how our youth team did, they have now just won their 5th title in a row. Losing 5 games though, but I think that's due to the fact that I kept stealing half the players from them. Because our squad it's small. You can see we've only got 20, where are we at? That's the Champions League registration. We've only got 22 players registered at the minute. So we actually have 3 slots available. Actually, I think one of them's a youth player as well, so we probably only have 21 registered. We need more depth, and that's why I'm making some big signings over the winter as we look to really push on with this squad. I want to go through the team and just show you a couple of people who have just been stalwart. So first off, Nashheim. He's now been with us for this was his 4th season back. 100 appearances, only 78 conceded in the league. He's just a quality keeper. Fossdal now has officially been capped by Norway. Got capped this year. Really pleased for him. 25 years old, 245 league appearances for the club. Now capped by Norway. Amadou he's now not unhappy, but he has been complaining this year about wanting a new challenge. This was his 10th season at the club. 10th season. I'm considering changing this to a squad player now, and hopefully he's going to handle it well. Yeah. Normally it says if you've got to kind of convince him. So, because all I'm thinking is we've got Owen Jones is world class. This kid at 21 years old is going to be world class. I've got another defender coming in who I think will sit alongside Owen Jones and might just help us get to that next level. Don't get me wrong, Ampadu is good. He is good. But he does make the odd mistake. Finishing a left back this year, we've had Orion Mailer. Now, we did lose both our left backs, so he has been playing some games. Picked up for 1.6 million from Stromsgodset a couple of years ago. But also, the young Syrian who came through the intake this season has already made 11 league appearances and 3 games in the Champions League. 16 years old, and he's starting left back for the best club in the country. The fact of the amount of academy players we've got in the squad is insane. 26 years old now, Christian Abdullah. He's been with us for 5 years. Just over a year left, and then he will become a Norwegian citizen, which is fantastic because I just think he's a quality player. If he was in the 6 foot height, I mean, wow. I think he could be even better. Arneson ended the season due to suspension, but 19 years old now, 42 league games for the club, another academy player, another very talented player. Our midfield strata, attacking midfield, I'm really impressed with him. Prince Ansa has just been insane. Absolutely insane. Still labelled as a wonder kid. 20 games for this season, 11 goals in the league. That's fantastic. Guttelsrod, I mean, 20 years old. We picked him up for 5 million. And that comes across like an absolute steal now. Because he's been fantastic. And Milan Buzic, we paid 8.5 million for him. He's now valued up to 55 million. But he does only have 2 years left. And at the minute, he's not been interested in negotiating. Oh no, wait, sorry. He was. We did actually pre-sign a new deal, which is going to start next year. Promise I know what I'm doing. Samuel Kroll. I was disappointed with him this season. I thought, you know what? He's not performed as well as he has in the past. He played 26 league games and scored 24 goals. It's his best ever season. It's the most amount of games in the league as well he's played. But somehow, I was a bit disappointed. that lets you know how many he could score. He has a lot of goals offside. 22 years old now, our backup Lingstad. He's just a very solid backup. Signed from Rosenborg years ago. This was his 5th season. Only played 18 games. Ridger, I'm unsure. He's not developing really much. He's 19 now. This was his 2nd season with us. 2 million spent on him. He is developing a bit. I do think he's developing more with our coaching staff than he would elsewhere. So if push comes to shove, we can send him back to a club in Norway, and he has developed a bit. Kevin Steens is back again now into the first team. He had a couple of suspensions, etc. Played 21 games starting in the league out of 30, which isn't that many. He also has agreed a new deal at the end of the year. So he's going to be tied down probably until he's about 31, I think. We've managed to secure him down till. Niemeyer, who we've already looked at, he's only 16. Another one who came through the academy this year, who I just think could be insane. We have another one who came through the academy in Bjørn Gulfsen. He is 16 now, and he came through as a left winger, if you remember. He now is naturally or accomplished in the attacking midfield strata, and yeah, I think next year could be a really good season for him. I really do. And then you have Maui, who this is his 3rd season with us, and yeah, he's developing quite nicely, isn't he? A few 17s in there. Player we picked up from Viking, obviously at the start of the year for 15 million, and I think he's had a decent first season for us. He can play in so many positions that, you know, sometimes it's a hindrance that he's so good playing in many positions because you never know where to play them. But he's doing well. Sivertsen still is somehow at the club. This was his 6th season playing for us. I've been trying to sell him to clubs within Norway because I was trying to free up spots to have some of the youngsters come through. And the fact that he doesn't like big matches, but he's just hanging around. So our young Polish striker, he's now only 18. He joined us when he was 16, so he is going to be Norwegian national if he accepts it. I mean, Med let me down with that. But if he accepts it, he's doing well. He's done okay this year. 7 starts, 5 goals. He's okay. He really is. We paid only 350k for him. He has 1,695 days left, but that's not that many, really. When you think he's only 18, by the time he's 22, 23, he's going to be on it. Then finally, we have another guy who came through the intake this year in Viggo Anderson. So as you can see, I really massively relied on young players who literally just came through the intake this year. And we ended up only losing 1 game in the league. And we're doing okay in the Champions League as well. We are looking like we're on course to go into the knockout rounds again. So considering the age of this squad, I think we're developing a new era. And honestly, I think this new era is special. What I did notice is winning the Super Cup and the Champions League, we gained 2.4 million social media followers. That's mad. A lot of fair weather and casual. Family and hardcore's gone down, but hopefully that can go up in time. Vision for next year, we are expected to win the league and be competitive in the Champions League, which we can accept. Normally I have to record these back when I'm a little bit further forward. This time I'm recording it on the day where I've just played the last game of the season. So we're actually looking through this kind of stuff together. Tottenham want Nersheim. That's not going to happen, I'm afraid, because we're not going to sell him. So even after all the money we pumped out this year, we still have 220 million in the bank. We've still made profit the last couple of years. So I think we can go big in the winter. I'm going to pick a club. We're going to pick a club and spend. We've got 87 million we can spend. I think we might actually try to push all of that out. Honestly, I think we might, just because I think it would be important that we try to boost some other clubs in the league. So odds, we have a player who we've spent 15 million on. They did get Champions League money as well, so they do have 10 million in the bank, plus they're going to get 15 million from me. Lillestrøm are going into the Europa League next year. Maybe we can look at helping them. They've only got 1.98 million in the red. And Glimt also in the red. So, and Viking, they 30 million financially secure. Going into Europe again. I think we've put Viking in a good path. I think they can do well. Maybe Lillestrøm and Glimt, if we can give them 15 million each, that would be useful. help the clubs who are in Europe, I'm thinking. I would also kind of like to give Rosenborg some money and help them get straight back up, because they are a fallen giant of Norwegian football. Now, coming up is Kjelsås, Kongsvinger and Ranheimer in the playoff final. Why is that so far along? When does that take place? Okay, it's not even close yet. Asker, Ulkis and Oslo. But our 2 feeder clubs are right down there. I need to plan my loans next year better. We can only loan out 8 players. I'm going to pick the 8 players I know long term have a big future, and I'm going to send them to Hunnifoss and Junkeren. From the third tier, Frigg, it looks like Asker's probably going to go up, and Ålesund are coming back up. That's just crazy that Ålesund were in Europe only a couple of years ago, and they're now in the 3rd tier. Bergen's B team went down, by the way. Who went down on this one? Uppsal, Moss, and my local side, Vidar. Okay. But things are progressing. Things are looking nice. I think this was a huge help. And we've got, I mean, these are good as well. If his composure was better and his general development gets better, jumping reach of only 5, etc., is his disappointment. But, like, look, he's labelled as just good. He's in our first team now. Our intake this year was one of the best ever. We have developed and we have started to create a new era for Egerson, with some of the older players moving out, say older, and some of the younger ones coming in. The future is bright. The future is yellow.